say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Well, good evening, everyone. We're honored to have you as our guest here at Crossroads Church. On behalf of the team of veterans that have put together this night and this program, we're pleased to have you in our presence, as well as honored. Just as that video just depicted, there's tremendous reason to be thankful and proud for the men and women that have put on the uniform, that have laid their lives on the lines, and some have paid the ultimate sacrifice. And so we have a responsibility as a community locally and as a nation, not only for today, but for in the years to come, and that is to show great appreciation for those who have served our country. Now, thankfully, there are tremendous resources that are available, both locally and abroad, but sometimes the information and sometimes the networking gets lost in translation. And so our desire in forming a gathering like this that we hope that will grow bigger over time and that will not only have more folks come to it to support it, but also be able to access hope to more veterans, we want to let that information be known. We also want to gather veterans who are on their feet, who are doing well, and put them in a position to help vets who may not be. And together, we could bridge the gap of some of the greatest difficulties that are going on right now in caring for our veteran community. And so it is our desire this evening in gathering in a place like this, the church, that we would come together in the spirit of unity, in the spirit of honoring those who have made the ultimate sacrifice, and come together for the sole purpose of bringing about information. And so we hope that this is the first of many. We kept the circle purposely tight tonight, and as we go on in the months and years to come, the circle will get bigger. And as more people come to the table, we can help more folks out. And so this evening, we're going to have 3 segments that I want to tell you about. First, we'll be starting with the medical component support, where we'll be talking with a doctor who is treating vets who are battling PTSD. Then we'll have a segment called the resource segment, where there in that segment, we'll talk about different resources that are available to veterans, as well as give a shout out to other folks who are here today who are providing services today, whether it be the NYPD or other employment agencies. We have some members of the VA here, College of Staten Island, so we have a number of different opportunities for veterans to connect and find out information. And then we'll close out our evening with a segment called the Inspirational Support segment, and there we'll be announcing the establishment of an ongoing support group that we'll be having and another program as well. And then we'll conclude the evening, we'll wrap it all up with a special thanks from 2 gentlemen who have put a lot of work into tonight. And so we're going to get started with our program officially, and I would like for you to give a warm welcome to Dr. Valdonis. Please come up, Doctor. Well, thanks for, I must say, I admire your tie.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Well, tell us this evening, just give us a little bit of your background and your history, your time of service to our country.
Sure. Yeah, so my name is Michael Valdovinos, and I am a psychologist here in New York City. I am I'm a veteran, former active duty U.S. Air Force. I might be the most recent separatee. I left active duty just a little over a year ago, so is there anybody else that beats me? All right. So I'm still currently in transition, as you would call it, so bear with me. But I'm essentially, I was an active duty Air Force psychologist for almost a decade. Served all around across the country and abroad, and I was in Afghanistan in 2012, deployed there. And I'm not from New York, I'm from California, but there are some great things happening in New York for veterans and active duty. So I made the schlep across the country with my family just about 8 months ago. And so I'm working out of New York Presbyterian and Cornell University, where we're trying to really bridge the gap between the active duty side and the veteran side, but we're also trying to make services more available for veterans at no cost. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a second, but that's a little bit about me.
Now, Doctor, we're so thankful that you're able to join us tonight. What could you tell us in terms of what are you seeing as you're working and treating veterans in New York City that you can let us know here in Staten Island about?
Yeah. So first thing, I think, I'm going to talk to my other veterans here, but also for folks who help veterans or support veterans through this process. I firmly believe that we are America's most renewable resource. There's this misconception that when you watch videos or when you talk to people that when veterans leave or military leave active duty, they're on their way down, or somehow their skills aren't comparable. And so there's a lot of misconceptions that I'm seeing here in the city with folks who really struggle to understand the assets that we carry with us from the military. And so I will continue to really advocate that for everybody, really just for us veterans, but also for civilians to understand that what we bring to the table is something of value, and that's really important for veterans, to really feel a sense of purpose and to feel like we have something to bring after we leave the military. And invoking that in us is really powerful. And that's something that we always do, even as a clinician in treatment. I always try to really make that a point of what I'm doing for folks, is just really bringing home that point that we're not on our way out. We're nowhere near being done. And for a lot of veterans, we want to continue to serve even after the military.
Thank you. Why would you think that the issue of mental health should be everybody's concern, whether somebody is a veteran or not? Why should that be everybody's concern, and why should we be encouraging programs, funding, whatever it may be, to go in the way of helping veterans who might be struggling in that area?
We're talking about veterans tonight, but I'll talk about, this is specifically for veterans, but really it's for everybody, is that mental health permeates every part of our lives, right? And I think there's this misconception that mental health, this idea of, I'll just throw it out there, being crazy, or what does it mean to at what point do we seek mental health? And really, it permeates every part of our life, right? And there's a sort of a scope of mental health, if you will. People often ask, well, when's the right time to get help, right? At what point do I get help? And I would say, unfortunately, in my line of work, most of the folks that come and see me, they've been marinating these issues for years, and then they want it to go away in a week. But I would always say, be proactive, and if you need help, seek it. New York City is a fantastic place for veterans to get mental health care, because there's a lot of great services here. We still have work to do, but I'll continue to say that the biggest reason that you should seek help is because it permeates every part of our life. And I'll be honest with you, I think I could argue that it's probably a pretty normal process at some point or another for you to be in a funk, to not feel well, and there's help out there.
Now, what areas need to be addressed to improve that aspect of helping folks with mental health in New York City?
Sure. For veterans, I think even across the country, one of the big areas that I don't think are being addressed very well is the issue of moral injury, right? I think we're addressing PTSD really well. We're not really covering moral injury very well. We're not covering reintegration very well, and I'm a guinea pig of that right now. Often when you leave the military, there's really no bridge that exists in between. So I'm really happy to see that there's folks that you're going to meet later on tonight, that are really working to really bridge that gap, because although there's a lot of great treatment and research being done for PTSD, there's these two other big areas, reintegration and moral injury, that we really need to continue working on, and a lot of our younger veterans are suffering from.
Could you just drill down just maybe a minute or two on each of those two last that you mentioned, the integration component?
Sure, yeah. So, the reintegration component of it is when you leave active duty or when you leave the military, right now there currently doesn't exist a really good program that helps you sort of integrate into your communities, right? It helps you really to take in all those great things that you did as a military service member and put you in a functioning community, or help you support you into a functioning community so that you continue to do well, you continue to thrive. And there's a lot of areas in this, whether it be occupational, whether it be physical, whether it be mental health. We need to do a better job at integrating folks in the community with whatever they're bringing from the military, and have them feel understood and welcomed, right? Because there's huge misconceptions about us service members when we come out to the community, and there's a lot of civilians that don't know about the military. There's still a lot of misconceptions that creates alienation. It creates a feeling of not being understood. And then it just doesn't go well after that. I mean, it's just not very healthy, and we have a tendency to sort of reflect inward and not feel good about our service, and so we get a lot of young veterans who are really having a struggle from, thriving in the military and then getting out into these communities and saying, now what? Now what do I do?
Well, it's interesting that you bring this up, because I think the whole issue of mental health is something that's not just for the young 20-year-old. We have news of gentlemen in their late 70s taking their life and battling, old issues in their heart and their mind. So what would you say to all of us today, the importance is, we're gathering together, as you know, to try to bring awareness and try to gather resources. Why is it important for mental health not just to be another item on the list, but to be a main objective and a focus for the veteran, young and old?
I think the first reason is that even in a city like New York, again, I've only been here for about 8 months, but it can feel really lonely, right? And you're not alone. You're really not alone. Now we have the technology to be able to help you and support you, as long as you have a cell phone or a computer, right? I can plug in directly to your computer in your home or in an office and provide any kind of intervention that I could if we were face-to-face for free. And so there's really powerful technology that we're using to help you, but also because what I went to back a second ago is that what we tend to see, not just with the veteran community, but really a lot in the veteran community, because that's the community I still serve, is that the longer that we sit with these issues, they tend to get worse, right? There's some times where you may feel a small, some depression or some anxiety, and generally we do okay and we kind of maneuver through it. But for these other long-standing issues, such as adjustment issues or depressive, long-standing depressive issues, or maybe PTSD, a lot of our older veterans still suffer from that. Those things tend not to go away on their own. And there's help out there, and it's free help, and it's effective help. And we've got some of the best clinicians here in the city that are waiting to help. And we need to do more of an effort to get out there into communities. That's why I'm here, to let you know that these services exist. But there's good treatments, there's effective treatments, and we want to help. And it's relevant, and trust me, you'll feel understood. So, yeah.
Well, one last question then,
Sure.
and that was a good segue to this. What's a good next step if folks want to connect either for themselves, for somebody they know, or just to be well-rounded in this important issue of mental health for veterans, especially in this day and age of social media, how we could be so connected? What could people do this evening, being that you're here, and I know somebody from your team is here? So what could they do this evening to connect with you?
It's a good question. For those of you who are tech savvy or even familiar with the internet, it's very easy to feel overwhelmed as soon as you go online, right? Where do I go? What's the first step? What should I do? How do I know if it's even something I should be doing? And so one of the reasons we're here is, the first thing is just make the first move, right? Make the phone call, go online, ask questions, develop an awareness of what's going on, and execute, right? Most of us military members are familiar with that. We're here tonight. If you have any questions about this, just come up to myself. I've got my colleague here, Jenna, who is, she's not military, but her brother is an active duty Marine officer, so she's grown up around the military. I'm Air Force, so if you guys, have a little bit, feel more comfortable, go to her. She's Marine. But anyway, ask us, talk to us. If we don't have the resource for you, we're pretty well connected in the city with regards to occupational, with regards to finance, with regards to rehabilitative medicine. I have access to New York Presbyterian and Cornell Medical Center. There's lots of services, so feel free. If you're not comfortable, get our information, get our phone number, our email address, shoot us your information, and we'll definitely reach out and try to provide whatever support we can for you. The last thing I do want to say is that it's not just for veterans. We also have services for family members, free of cost, okay? So for veterans and their families, we can provide services free of cost. And again, if you have any other questions, feel free, stop by, let me know. And thank you all for what you do.
Thank you, Doctor. I want to just thank some of our special guests that are here. When you came in, you've noticed our beloved NYPD officers. They're here, and they are such a big part of our community from the 122. And so, what we're doing is we're working with the deputy officers. We're working with folks from the city from 1PP, and we want to create a plumb line for guys who get back from the military and might want to consider getting involved in the department, and we want to help facilitate that through gatherings such as this. And so they're here not only to tell you about programs in the community, but to also hand out information about that. And so that's just one of the ways that we want to connect folks and get them as much information as possible for next steps. And some of you have done that already. You've already worked with veterans, and you've already served the police department, and maybe you could be a part of that as well. Well, we're going to move to our next segment right now, and we're calling this our resource support segment. And when we do these in the future, we're going to focus on specific resources that are available. And so one of them has to do with finances. And so I'm going to ask Rhonda Sherwin to join me up front. Give her a hand as she comes forward. And we are honored today to have from the Wounded Warrior Regiment, Sergeant Maria, come on up. And my neighbor from right down the block, Patrick Ryan with the Congressman's office, is going to tell us about a program that they're doing that you want to find out about. So Patrick, if you wouldn't mind joining us up here, buddy. Well, Rhonda, thank you so much for being here, and I really appreciated talking with you prior to the event. I could see your passion and your desire to want to care for veterans, and I think that's why we're all here. And so I'd like to start with you, since ladies first. You're up here with a bunch of guys up here. So just tell us about who you are and what you do for veterans, how you serve them.
So I'm a manager in a program that a lot of people are not familiar with, but it's a Veterans Financial Coaching Program. I work for the Armed Forces Service Corporation, which is the contracting agency for the Consumer Financial Protection Board. So the CFPB was set up a couple of years ago for, in the midst of the financial crisis, to police banks and financial institutions. There were a lot of civil penalties that were imposed on the banks. So this is an example where the funding from those civil penalties were used to set up a veterans financial coaching program. So this is a one-to-one personalized program that helps veterans with a variety of financial issues. I don't sell any products. I'm not associated with any financial institution. It is simply a program to help veterans with budgeting, credit counseling, spending plans, retirement, saving plans. It's really just for me to see what your financial goals are and what your wishes are in terms of behavior change, or just changing the map for you in terms of your financial interests. It's one-to-one, it's personalized. I set up individual appointments with veterans I'm housed in the Brooklyn Department of Labor office, private office, because we take, your issues very seriously in terms of privacy. So I just encourage anybody that is looking for this type of service to see me. I have flyers on the back table, and it's a program that is nationwide. There are 40 coaches like me around the country, and I cover the 5 boroughs.
Thank you. Thank you. Next question, Sarge. Thank you for joining us this evening, and could you tell us how you serve?
Okay, once again, my name is Gunnery Sergeant Morera. I work for Headquarters Marine Corps, Wounded Warrior Regiment. And basically, this program is called a DISC program, District Injured Support Coordinator Program. So we're spread throughout the whole country. And we work with Marines and sailors that were attached to Marine units in every aspect. So we'll get a case. It could be a neighbor calling in our call center. It could be one of the nurses working with them. Anyone that possibly they're having trouble either transitioning into the civilian world, or they've been out for 10, 12, 13 years, and now they have issues. So we'll get that call, we'll contact the service member, we'll work through a whole assessment sheet of everything about their lives, and then we'll start planning on goals on what we're going to do to better your lives and your family's lives. So we're basically like crossing guards. We're here to say, here's financial services, mental health, and that's everywhere with civilian, with the VA. We work directly with all the VA hospitals, the clinics all over the country. And anyone can call. Anyone can call our 1-800 number. It's 24 hours a day. If they're having issues or if they think somebody's having issues, and they will contact the person closest to assist.
Patrick, thank you for joining us. And tell us about what the congressman is doing out of his office to help connect vets with the VA.
Sure. Thank you for putting this event on, and thank you all for your service. Our office is here to serve you, quite literally. We have a staff member dedicated to military and veterans issues. If you're having trouble getting old service documents or speaking with the VA about your benefits or about a health issue, and you're calling them 10 or 20 times a week, you don't need to call them. You can just call us, and we'll make those calls and do that work for you. We speak with the VA almost every day about different constituent issues. So please use us as a resource. That's what we're here for. We also have a VA representative who has agreed to come to our office one day every month for the entire day and meet one-on-one with folks who maybe can't travel to another part of the borough or the city to have a meeting. So we have 10 time slots available. We have 5 left for April, and we have all 10 open for May. So if you need to speak to the VA, if you want an hour one-on-one with this representative, then please give us a call, and we'll make sure that it can happen this month or next month. And also just one last thing, because it's pretty timely. Congress, literally just a couple of hours ago, voted to extend the VA Choice Program, which I'm not sure how familiar folks are with it, but if you're trying to get an appointment with the VA and it's 30 days or longer wait period, then this program will pay for you to go see a different doctor or a private physician. So that'll be extended for at least another year, and that's good news.
Well, I certainly appreciate those who made the journey to be here with us this evening and to be a part of this. And I want you to really take advantage after we conclude. We have some refreshments that have been provided, and take your time. We're in no hurry. We want you to connect with those who are here. As I mentioned earlier, we have the NYPD here for applications, but we also have another employment agency who's helpful in especially placing vets in active employment. And so you might want to find out about that after we're done this evening. They'll be right in the back. And we also have folks here who have information also representing the VA. And so just some good opportunities to connect. And so now with this next segment, we're calling the inspirational segment support of what we want to do. And so I want to welcome up 2 team members that are going to be helping with the support group ministry and connecting folks on a daily basis. And that's Sergeant Steve Rosen and Sergeant Kevin Ortiz. So if you guys could come on up. Steve, we'll start with you. We've had some discussion about starting a support group, and from just my discussion and talks with veterans in the capacity of being a pastor and counseling, it seems fitting that in addition to offering one-on-one services, that there is some great synergy to be had in coming together on a weekly or biweekly or monthly basis for veterans, especially veterans who might have more experience than other veterans. And then that component of coming together. And so as we've talked, you'll be helping, being a team member in the support group. And what could you say to folks of the importance of coming to that first support group, which will be May 3rd of next month?
Well, basically, we're offering a program, it's almost like a Big Brother type program where a veteran who's been out of the service for a while and has become somewhat acclimated to the real world will meet with somebody who has just come back, or like the doctor has only been back maybe 8 months and he needs some type of transition. This is one of the services that we'll be providing to help that person transition back into the world, to help him with the services to make available to him or let him know about the services that are available to him. And then once again, just act as a big brother if he needs some type of, if he's in any type of crisis and he needs someone that he can reach out to. Certainly it would be one of us, and we'll be meeting on a basis where we'll invite people to come in and speak to them and assist them in whatever and anything that they might need, and again, to transition back to the world, or just again, those people who have been here back 10, 12, 13 years. I've been out of active duty for over 40 years now, and I still have issues, especially with the VA. So, you know, we want to be able to reach out to people and to talk to them. So that's some of the services that we'll be doing here.
Thank you, Steve. Kevin, what could you say to maybe some of those younger vets that have recently gotten out or within the last 5 years or so? Why is it important for them to connect to something like this, particularly a support group on a monthly or weekly basis?
Well, I can speak from my own personal experiences that a lot of times when we separate from the military, we don't know that there is any resources out there. A lot of times we feel alone and really don't know who to speak to about these things. So the fact that, we can be in a group that has other people with similar issues and just give us a forum to speak with someone who would understand where we're coming from is really the most important thing, I think.
Excellent. Well, this is a good segue to a program that we wanted to announce to everybody today, and something that you could sign up for all veterans. Steve and Kevin are alluding to something that's going to be called the Patriot Partner Program. And I think it's easy to remember, Patriot Partner Program. And it is essentially going to be a call to veterans who are doing well. They got both feet on the ground, mentally, financially, relationally, spiritually, whatever it might be, emotionally. And then we want them to offer themselves to say, hey, I could be somebody that could be counted on. And then vets who might be struggling right now, no matter what age you are, no matter what your struggle is, we want you to sign up as well. And it could just be something just simple as you just mentioned about navigating through the VA. That's a big word that we are using for these gatherings, by the way, going forward. In fact, when we've been meeting for a while now talking about this, that was the word that kept coming up, navigating. We want to help navigate the many different opportunities that are out there. Some of them might be very difficult. Just like the ocean, there's some waters that are very smooth, and then there are some waters that are very rough. And we could sit all day from here till we die to complain about those waters, or we could try to do something about it. And so we want to try to do something about it. We want to try to navigate them. And so one of the ways to navigate them, we believe, government doesn't help people. People help people. And so we want to help each other ultimately. We want to come together as people. And we want to have this Patriot Partner Program. And so if you're a veteran, you're doing well, we want to connect you with a veteran who might have some help with navigation, have some help with life. Might need somebody to accompany them to a program, might need somebody to go with them to an appointment. There's great power in that. And I think that some of the opportunities that we don't know about, maybe we can find out about. But here's the other thing of why I'm convinced this is going to be a success. Because what makes our country great is not our automobiles or our sporting venues or any other invention that comes down the line. You know what makes our nation great? The veterans make our nation great. That's what makes our nation special. The very fabric of our country is defined by service and sacrifice, two of the greatest human qualities that a person could possess. It's something that needs to be taught about more in our schools. It's something that needs to be spoken about more on the campaign trail, not just for a vote or political expediency. It's something that's more than a photo op. It needs to be the very fabric of who we are as a people. And so I'm convinced that the Patriot Partner Program could be a success because it's going to be patriots and heroes that are in it helping others. And so that's why it could be a success. And so I encourage you and I implore you. Listen, I'm 100% sure it could be a success because you'll be in it. If you have both feet on the ground and you want to help another veteran, sign up for it today. When you exit the sanctuary, before you go get chocolate pretzels, I hope there's still some left, and cookies and everything else, and a sandwich or what else they got out there, right to your immediate left as you come around the bend after you come out of the sanctuary, there's a table right there where you could sign up and say, hey, I want to be on that team, or I need some help, or maybe I know somebody that needs help. And hopefully together, listen, we're realists. We're not going to change the whole world. But if we can make a difference in one veteran's life, and that becomes two veterans and so forth, and it multiplies, we've done our job. And as a Staten Island community, we know through different events that have taken place in our tri-state area, tragic events, natural disasters, whatever they may have been, that our community has a history, a long-standing history, I might add, of coming together when it counts. And I can't think of a greater issue, a greater concern for coming together than the veterans. And so the support group will commence on May the 3rd at 7 o'clock right here. And so if you want to be a part of that, we wholeheartedly welcome you to come. If you know somebody, bring them. We love to have them. And then the Patriot Partner Program, information about that will commence on May 3rd. When we begin the support group, we'll be able to line people up. But Dennis, tell us about what you do and how you serve veterans. What could we hear from you this evening?
Okay, good evening. It's a pleasure to be here. It's an honor to be here. My name's Dennis Mahoney, and I'm a psychiatric social worker supervisor working with the New York Harbor Healthcare System, the VA system here in the city. And I'm the program manager of a high-level outpatient mental health program called MICM, which stands for Mental Health Intensive Case Management. And our program, and as a social worker in my program, serves severely and persistently mentally ill veterans in the community, helping to maintain safety and improve the quality of their lives. That's our main mission. And so that's what we do.
Okay, how could, thank you. How can veterans that are here today connect with you and hear more about what services that you have to offer?
Okay, well, our program is just one part of a wide array of mental health services in the VA. And I would encourage people to utilize those services and to explore them by making appointments with the outpatient clinics in the Manhattan VA on East 23rd Street, the Brooklyn VA at 800 Poly Place, and also at our St. Albans campus in Queens.
Excellent. Anna, would you just like to share briefly about how you serve and just your experience in the field with caring for veterans?
Sure. As you had spoken earlier, in terms of navigating the system, we help our veterans navigate within the system. If they're having a difficult time navigating the system, we know how difficult it is to get from one appointments to others and other resources that could be available within the VA or outside of the VA. But the main thing is that once they're in the system, trying to get them to remain with the VA and try to make all their appointments. Most of the times, that's what we help them with, to make sure that they make their appointments and be healthy, try to be healthy and maintain some kind of quality of life. But we help them navigate the system within the VA.
And could I just ask you a follow-up question, if you don't mind? Why is it important for there to be these types of programs? As you could see, on top of the mental stress, the emotional stress of getting assimilated back into the culture, can it be sometimes stressful for a veteran to get connected with some of the benefits that they so rightfully deserve.
It is very stressful. Any little thing can be stressful, and it could create more problems. Our role within our program is to help the veterans make things easier for them as much as possible. We help them try to be less stressful in terms of trying to get the services that they can from the VA.
Excellent. Well, in just a moment, we're going to invite up two special guests who just want to share a special word of thanks and give you a little more of a context before we wrap things up. But again, just a special word to thank all of you for being with us this evening. Several months ago, I had the privilege of getting connected with two honorable veterans, and it was our desire to formulate a team and then bring other like-minded people together for the sole purpose of helping veterans, whether it be navigating the VA system, whether it be navigating through life, but just to put ourselves out there and to connect with folks that have a heart for veterans. And so I'm so blessed to not only call these folks partners in this endeavor, but also dear friends. And so Mike and Joe, come on up, okay? Give them a hand as they come on.
I want to thank you all for coming tonight. Joe and Pastor Ray, I couldn't tell you how the three of us got together. It was just one of those things. We all had the same interest, and that was not only helping our veterans, but educating the public in how to help our veterans. And it's just great to have everyone here tonight. I've had a lot of help since I've been in the last 6 years. I sort of went off the charts. Well, not off the charts. I went independently when I first came home, and I was going to make my own way. And there were a couple of people that brought me back into the veteran community. John Ponte from the Silla Foundation, Rolling Thunder, God bless them. They listen to my crap all the time. So our elected officials, they wanted me to be a part of making our veterans better. So I trusted them more than I trusted myself, and that's how we wound up here tonight. So thank you for coming, and let's just keep the work going and learning more about the veterans. Thank you.
I'd like to echo my partner's sentiment and say thank you very much, everyone, for coming down. I know you guys make great efforts to get here. Dr. V, thank you very much. Appreciate your attendance. And this group of men is amazing. I mean, we are just blessed to be here and just very happy to help. And this is going to be a great program.
And this is just the beginning. And so I just want to close with this one word, and that is vision. We have a vision for this. And being that we're in a church, the greatest inspiration of all is God. And in his word, he says, where there's no vision, my people perish. And so we need a vision going forward in life, and we need a vision for this endeavor of caring for veterans. And again, for our Staten Island community and abroad. But where do we go from here? I think of a couple of words. First is participation. Everybody could do something. If you have the desire to want to volunteer, this is just the beginning. We envision having a veterans banquet here where we invite veterans and their spouses, and we have a dinner here and we serve them. And so we'll need volunteers for that. We would love to be able to have at our disposal resources. I'm talking about financial resources because people need financial help sometimes. Financial resources to help people transition sometimes or needs that they have for veterans. A veteran who's in need should be our top priority. And so we're going to have needs for people to volunteer in those areas of helping gather resources and being custodians of those things, like a benevolence team. There's going to be a need for people who do clerical work to help enter information. There's going to be a need for people helping manage this Patriot Partner Program. So this is just some of the areas that I'm mentioning partnering with. And then we have our elected officials who have initiatives already going. And so perhaps we can have volunteers that serve as a liaison between what we are doing here and what they're doing in their offices. And again, there's a lot of good things going on, but we need to bridge and close that gap a little bit more, and we could do that together. So that's a way that we could participate. And then, of course, the monthly support group. If you want to be a part of that, we'd love to facilitate that opportunity for you. And so there's also going to be other opportunities that come up that we're going to think about. We're going to brainstorm. The synergy is going to produce that. And so we encourage you wholeheartedly to be a part of that. And so I think that this is a perfect marriage. Again, veterans, sacrifice, service. And those of us who are passionate about those two areas, we need to come together. And so our hope is that this larger gathering that we've done, as I mentioned at the top, we want the circle to grow larger the next time. And so there will be more advertising that is done. We'll ask you that is here to go out and branch out and invite other organizations and other vets to come to it as we make this opportunity grow larger, and so that we have the proper infrastructure in place, because Lord willing, we'll need multiple places to hold a support group. We'll have to have multiple nights like this. And so our goal and our heart long term is to have these types of gatherings with resource information and to do them quarterly. Wouldn't that be great? Where you can have professionals coming up here being interviewed. And then also we're going to have a segment next time where you could text in your question right from the audience where you're seated. And it could be any question you want. And even if we don't have the answer to it, it'll be our responsibility to facilitate a feedback to that. But just one last important thing to say. Thank you to all of our vets for your service and for your continued desire to care for the men and women who are the most honorable people on the face of the earth. God bless you and good evening. Thank you.